Heat in red and white. We're looking at Aftershock on the breakout right here. And they're aggressive moves. There it was. We just talked about it. Aggressive moves off the break for Aftershock. And unfortunately, they don't lose their front players, but they lose their back players as they lose two off the break. And it's going to be, I don't know, let's see if Aftershock can get it done over here, because here comes Houston Heat. And look at this. Fedorov sharking down the center of the field and going to take down the last player. So nice job by Fedorov. That kid has such ridiculous timing, man.
Yeah.
He knows exactly what needs to be done, seems like, at all times.
That was actually the same breakout that they started with against Vicious last time. That's the same breakout. They came out swinging. And I think against Vicious, they got the first 2 points against Vicious, but unfortunately, the tables were turned this time, and they got smoked. Like you said, they lost all their back
tables have turned.
Well, the problem there for Chicago Aftershock was they took those two far spots. They went up to the box behind the A and that tall temple on the Dorito side, but because they lost their back center player, they really didn't have anybody that could protect the diamond side of the field. So Chad George pretty much just walked up, because both those two shock players were looking towards the Dorito side. Chad George just walked up and shot them both in the pack, you know, and as they're walking off, Fedorov comes through. The second player to die besides that back center guy was the diamond side corner. So really no support. You know, you can get a good tack and you get way up the field, but you know, if you don't shoot anybody while you go there and you're playing the sit and wait from those spots, then you don't have any support on your backside. You know, expect to be wiping your pack off when you get back to the pits.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, also I think it bears mentioning, look what just happened. You have Aftershock have a crazy game plan. They run pretty far off the break. They send a guy all the way up, you know, to the center, and those guys make it alive. And then immediately after that happens, they lose two players out of the backfield, out of their bunkers. They didn't get shot off the break. They got shot out of their bunkers, and that's been a really big issue for Chicago Aftershock. I mean, one of their keys to victory is that Chicago Aftershock, they've got to stop that. They've got to really work on that side of their game.
Yeah, you know, and like I said, I think that they're going to come into their own. I mean, like you said, they just rebuilt again this year. So I think towards the end of the year, they'll be stepping up a little bit.
Well, you know, I talked to Rennick Miller at the beginning of the season about the rebuild this year, and, you know, he was pretty pragmatic about it. He understood that, look, this is going to be a long process. I'm bringing up some guys that are real hungry, that want to grind, and that want to make sure the Aftershock name lives on. This is the second oldest team in the entire league after the Ironman. All right, now look at this breakout. Shock making those good moves, man. Shock does not have any sort of problem getting into spots. It's living in those spots and doing damage from there that they have an issue with. Look at this, though. Simmons gets his shot cross field.
Yeah, Chad Boucher gets shot in the head, asked for a check. He comes walking off the field for Houston Heat. And Nick Sloviak getting some runs here in this match against his old team. He breaks out to the corner. Chad George now up here in the diamond, working across the field. Number 27.
Chad George gets a kill cross field, and now he's zoned up on Simmons here. Look at this gunfight happening on your screen right here. Davey Simmons, AJ Lawhead, number 27, is matched up against Chad George for Houston Heat. Chad George right in front of you right now. He's trying to get an angle on Lawhead. Lawhead, one of the more experienced players on Aftershock.
Cross-field shot against Fedorov. Great shot over here. And here comes Chad George putting it on A.J. Lawhead.
Yeah, it looks like, I think that's Stoli over there in the corner. May not have seen him, but Nick Slowiak having gun problems is kind of out of the game. Chad George needs him to get involved right now as all the other bodies died for Houston Heat. Nick Slowiak trying to load one ball at a time with Thole living on the outside of that bunker against Chad George.
Oh, and Thole ends up, so they traded out, and that's going to leave Nick Sloviak alive. Doesn't matter as they concede the point. So that's going to be another point on the board for Houston Heat. You know, the story Houston Heat, they were formed in the offseason of 2011 into 2012, and owner Randy Smith, who used to work with Distortion, decided, hey, I want to have a pro team. So he called up, and it started with Chad. It started with Chad Boucher. And they basically put together a rock star roster that actually had a lot more guys that ended up not being on the squad. Justin Rabikoff almost played for Houston Heat. A couple other really big names almost played for Houston Heat. But the squad that they ended up fielding has been very consistent. And you guys, if you've been watching all morning, you've heard us talk about Houston Heat. And the best thing about them right now is they're getting production across the board. If you go to paintballaccess.com, go to the stats page, look at the overall player rankings, you're going to notice their highest ranked player is Konstantin Fedorov, who's ranked 14th. Okay, so for the team that's taken second and first in the first 2 events of the season, to have their top guy only be 14th, well, what does that say? What that says is they're getting production from everybody. So though Fedorov's obviously playing really well because he's at the top of the very close to the top of the player rankings, still they're getting production out of a lot of guys. Sam Monville and Woodley stepped up greatly in the finals and won a really amazing point as Britnikoff was pushing in, and Monville was able to get the snapshot of the tournament on to win the event. Let's check out this replay real quick. So you're looking at the last bit of this point here as Chad George starting off aggressive. Good to see that out of Chad George, though honestly, when do we not see Chad George play aggressive?
Yeah,
I mean, that kid is always getting in the mix.
He's playing phenomenal this year. I mean, we're seeing a lot of good stuff out of him. He makes those good moves. His timing's really come about too.
Yeah, and the thing with Chad George, and you're a front player, and you live by the sword, die by the sword, it does take some time to figure out that crucial timing, and the timing is different for everyone. Front players, back players, mid, the timing is all slightly different. Look at this, Woodley all the way up into the center for Houston Heat. Looking at their backfield spread right now, they got 4 players in the backfield, but they decide to send John Woodley all the way up to the center. He is trying to shut down that diamond side of the field for Shock. Now Shock losing a player off the break. They still have 4 bodies alive.
And Woodley walks off.
So does
Mishka walks off right now too, but looks like he's still got Fedorov down here in the diamond side corner. Sam Monville makes the break from the small temple all the way up to the diamond and starts going to work and shoots Aaron Tholey square between his eyeballs. And he's going to walk off right now along with AJ Lawhead.
Yeah, and Sam Monville making a good move up the middle of the field. That diamond, that's right up.
Ronnie Dizon walks off as well out of that Doritos side corner.
And here comes Sam Monville. Sam Monville has been developing over the years and has kind of just been one of those quiet killers. He first came up Philly Americans. Tim Montresor was one of the guys that molded him during the years that they built the Philly Americans into a championship squad. But then Monville coming over to Heat, and it really has come into his own. I think he's become a star now.
He's actually an ex-Aftershock player as well.
That's right.
He played with Aftershock when I played with Aftershock a couple years ago. So, there's a couple. I'm sure he wants some too. But like you said, no love lost. He comes up there, gets a 3-pack quickly. Shot, as Todd so eloquently put it, between the eyeballs on Aaron Tholey, and then, continuing down the field, take up 2 more players. He is amazing paintball player, and I'm looking forward to seeing more out of him for sure.
Well, let's check out the keys to victory here. Yeah, so Aftershock, they're now down 3-0. And the most important thing that Aftershock needs to keep in mind is they need to play penalty-free. They've struggled with that. I talked to Coach Mikey Bruno about that issue, and he understands that it is a problem. So they've actually been able to do that real well. Their first game, they didn't get any penalties, so they can check that off the list. They're doing a great job there. Now, the dynamic game plans, they got to stick with those, man. That's the type of thing that's going to let a young, hungry team compete with a team that probably has a little bit more experience and has been doing a little bit better or significantly better, like Houston Heat. We're literally watching the number 1 and the number 12 teams throw down right now. So this is going to be a really big learning experience for Aftershock, and it goes down to smart gunfights, man. They are just still consistently, they're getting into good spots, but look at the first point. That's what I was talking about. The very first point of the event, of this game, you get Aftershock make really awesome game plan with that dynamic game plans. They get all the way up the center off the break. They make good spots, and the 2 back players die behind them within 15 seconds. That's the type of stuff that's going to keep them from winning games.
Yeah, Matty. In Houston Heat, they're just so smart with their reads. You talked about how important the mid players are going to be at this event. And what's happening is with those 2 big, the tall tower and that tall can in the middle of the field, you have a spot to attack with great shots on both sides of the field from either bunker. So it's reading where the bodies go, who you shoot on the break, and which way to attack immediately.
All right, here we go. You look at a Houston Heat right now, 16:26 left on the clock. The score is 3-0 after a bunch of quick points by Houston Heat. And now Looking at Chicago Aftershock in the blue. Jansen, number 21 there in the backfield. And they lose. Aftershock.
AJ Lawhead losing, trying to make that secondary bump out there, Maddie.
So Houston Heat dictating the pace of this game right now as they're cutting into that center, to the center stand-up. Oh, and trying to get a shot on Aftershock, who's trying to aggressively push up on the diamond side of the field. And this is a very crucial point. We talk a lot about that three-point spread because of this exact reason. This Aftershock is just losing momentum to Houston Heat.
Yeah, Trevor Reagan making a good move getting up the side of the field over here, behind the race bunker, right behind the diamond. But players all around him just losing. Christopher Jensen taking the walk. I think he's pretty much the lone survivor here. And that's going to do it for Chicago Aftershock. Nice, slow, controlled push right there by Houston Heat.
Yeah, so this could look to be a very quick game as Houston Heat is just turning on, and they just are unstoppable. They are playing quite amazing. Right now, Houston Heat has not lost a point at this event so far. They played Thunder this morning. They beat them 7-0. Now they're up 4-0 against Aftershock. They look great.
Yeah, right now they're just crushing teams.
So Todd, you're the coach of Infamous. Eventually, you're going to have to play Houston Heat, hopefully at this event, hopefully for the win. If you had to scout this team right now, and let's say, Chris is back on Infamous, you pick me up as a bad guy, what would you tell us right now? How would you break this team down? What are you going to tell your boys about Houston Heat to try to beat these guys as they've played literally flawless so far today?
Well, the first thing that I'm going to tell you is I want to take away Chad George. I'd look for Fedorov. I would stick one guy. I'd stick my best guy on Fedorov. I'd pick Chris. I'd be like, Chris, I want you to find Fedorov, and wherever he goes, you go, okay? I want you to match him, all right? And I'm saying, Matty, you're my best back guy. You shoot a guy for me 80 to 90% of the time, okay? Do not let Chad George get anywhere near that diamond side of the field, okay? As soon as he's in, you're in. Same thing. When he's in, you're coming in. If you don't shoot him from the back center, you need to step off a little bit, step to the side. You figure out where you need to be to shoot that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can control those guys, we'll make the rest of the team beat us because we've got a lot of talented players, and we'll play good paintball. But we need to play as a team. Okay, not one guy is going to win this tournament for us. We need to stick together, stick to the game plans, and execute. But you know what? We got good guys that can go up against their good guys, and let's take them out. I want you to be better than him, and I want you to be better than him today. Okay, and let's win this tournament, and let's beat these guys.
And I don't think enough of that is being said by these coaches necessarily, and I know these coaches are all doing a great job. We got some phenomenal coaches in this league, but I love that about you, because it is a team sport, but ultimately it's like, again, you have to believe in yourself. As a coach, I'm not going to give you a job I don't think you can do. So if I have faith in you, then, come on, man. If anyone should have faith in themselves, it's yourself.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing. You got to be better than them. Okay, yeah, we're playing Houston Heat. Well, we're pros too, man. You're skilled. You're talented. Get in there and get it done. Make it happen. So somehow, some way, this is paintball. It's a very chaotic, charismatic game. So find a way, use your gun skills, and get into those important spots. I don't want to hear, oh, he's keeping me out of there. We'll put him in and make a move.
Right, exactly.
There's a lot of bunkers out here. Make something happen. And I think we're going to start to see that develop. We see it every single tournament. Things develop quicker. These players learn their spots. They're not as scared to make those bumps. They know how far they can go. They know what they can do out there. They know which way they got to duck and dive to make these spots. And then also you can see the game plans get a little bit more intricate as well.
Right. And one thing, and Todd said it the best, if somebody walked up to me and said, hey, I want you to go do this. All right, sure. Yeah, I didn't care how far it was. I didn't care where you go, and that's what you need out of your players. You got to entrust in your coach what to do. If he tells you to run to their flag station in the breaks, say, okay, I'll be right there. It might take somebody like me a little longer, but I'll get there eventually. You know, I mean, but like you said, have confidence in your coach. And Todd, I mean, I got to take my hat out to you. You're one of the better coaches out there. And just the way you break the games down is, you know, it's very entertaining for us, first of all, to listen to you. And it's very informative to the people at home. Because, I mean, you just break it down the way it is, and you really don't care what anybody thinks. So
Hey, I appreciate it, man. I'm out here. I really enjoy coaching. You know, it's like something kind of just fell into on accident. You know, I expected to be playing with Infamous the first year. You know, I played the one World Cup with him, and then the first practice of the following season of 2010, I tore another knee ligament in my left knee, and we didn't have a coach, and it was like, hey, do you want to coach? I was like, oh, sure, you know, and it turned out to be so much of a challenge. I mean, like, I've done the playing challenge for such a long time. It was something new for me, and you know, it's really been fun. So yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, well, here we go on the breakout. Score 4-0 as Houston Heat is putting it on Chicago Aftershock. And Houston Heat just continues to roll their guns and make these smart moves. And look at the body language on Houston Heat. I mean, these guys, they have their guns up. They're rolling their guns on. I think that's something. We haven't talked about that yet today much. But look at this. Bodies are falling for Aftershock, and you can already see they've lost this game in their heads, man.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. Yeah, like you said, body language is everything. And, you know, you're watching Jason Woodley play, or John Woodley, and you're watching like right there in your screen. Woodley's he's come out of his shell. He's an amazing paintball player. And the confidence that they have on the field, like you said, the way they're standing on these bunkers, they are owning this field right now.
Yeah, Woodley, you know, he's been one of those guys that wasn't one of the touted superstars when he came onto this team, but he has just been solid. He's been consistent. He's down here in the diamond now with half his loader off, trying to get some balls into his gun. But, I mean, he's just one of those guys that, you know, just goes to work, does what he needs to do, and, you know, he's contributed a lot. Nick Slowiak's getting a lot of PT today, you know, against his former team, and I'm sure he's loving it out there right now.
Yeah, I think John actually is a local around here. I remember, I think I seen his parents out here, and that's another thing, man. I see a lot of more families coming out watching this paintball stuff now. I mean, I'm sure my mom and family at home are watching this on TV, you know, and I just love seeing the support that everybody's giving, you know, paintball right now.
Absolutely. I can guarantee you my parents are not watching right now.
I'm sure my she's probably in the kitchen cooking hard-boiled eggs or something, just chilling, listening to us and just getting cracks out of it.
But, you know, what I was going to say is that you really got to roll your guns on the field like this. There's a lot of bounce shots out there. You want to put a lot of paintballs in the air. And the biggest thing is, like, when you're playing against a team that has some players that are doing damage, like a Chad George, like a Konstantin Fedorov for Heat, you know, one of the things Rich Telford, we used to always talk about, I'd be like, okay, look, I'm going to have a really good shot at shooting that guy off the break because that's what I'm good at. But what I'm also good at, too, is keeping players from playing the game. If you make that spot, shoot at that guy, you know, and I'm not talking about just shooting direct drive right at his bunker to tippy-tap his bunker. No, you know, put a couple on the bunker to let him know that he's getting shot at so he doesn't want to engage. But then the next couple shots need to be about an inch, half inch off the corner of the bunker so that if he does get a little freaky and want to engage, that you're going to be putting direct drives right into his face when he does so. But that's what I'm talking about. That's the gunfight logic you're going to hear me talk about. The gunfight is a very intricate part of this sport that is one of those things that's been constantly developing over the years. And that's that higher level of the game knowledge that a lot of guys like, they they see these guys running around. Oh, they're just out there snap shooting. No, work your way in a spot. Yeah, but that's a whole nother side of the game you got to master, and that's something that really takes years of experience.
Yeah, Matty, I used to be on Aftershock, and we won the 10-man World Cup, the last 10-man World Cup in 2002. Oliver Lang was destroying people for Dynasty on the snake side of the field. Richie Malcheski shot 17 pods at his bunker and didn't let him go anywhere.
Oh my God, look at Woodley just run up the center of the field and has the move of the tournament so far. I don't know if he got all of them, but he definitely got a 4-pack.
Now, they shot one in the break, which freed him up to come up the field. He recognized what was going on and just kept going. See, that is a confident team right there. Like you said, they are playing good paintball, and John Woodley just put it on Aftershock.
Excellent move by John Woodley, just with that recognition, just to keep going. Aftershock bottled up in the back, all looking the wrong ways. No coaches, no communication. We're going to stop him from coming down right there.
Where'd who go?
I mean, I'll tell you what, man. That's timing right there. That's game knowledge. That's understanding the pace and the tone of a point. And, God, John Woodley has really come into his own. And, it was interesting when you first looked at the roster from Houston Heat. I remember first seeing the roster, and I was thinking, like, okay, they got some stars on the team. They got Mishka, they got Fedorov, they got Slowiak, they got some role players. They got, Chad Yaya. They got Sam Monville, but Woodley never really had been a guy that was on our radar much. I mean, he's been playing the game for a minute, but that being said, I mean, he's really proving himself out there in the highest level of competition that exists in the world. Let's check out this replay right now. All right, look at this breakout. You see Woodley streaking up to the center of the field. Looks like he's going left. He cuts right and then just keeps going. You're looking at it from Aftershock's point of view. There's no one at the A. Boom. Takes out one, switches hands, runs through, takes out another, switches hands again, and just double taps, triple taps the last remaining players for Aftershock. And look at this. This is even a tighter angle right here. Cameramen are doing a great job today. They're on top of their game. Look at this. And Woodley comes through, puts it on Simmons, switches hands, and then just handles business, man. He didn't even stop running. He did not pause a beat that entire point. What a great job by Woodley.
No, that was a great point right there. I mean, he recognized, like you said, they got 2 quick G's in the break, left the door wide open. And then the one person that could have stopped him, A.J. Lawhead, was checking himself, got bounced in the face, looking at the ref, and then John Woodley just comes over and, hey, what's up? Plow!
Wow.
In the face.
I mean, if Houston Heat is playing flawless paintball so far today, they have not lost 1 point. And not only that, but they look to be ramping up their aggression.
Yeah, I mean, this pure emotion right now in Aftershock. They just want to come out and at least get a point, just put it on somebody, but they're just dying out of their bunkers, Maddie and Todd. They're getting some good spots, but their gunfighting skills are horrible right now.
Yeah, it's looking rough.
I'm sure my boy Mikey Bruno is probably going crazy right now. But I can see, no, you can't ever count Mike out. Mikey Bruno, he'll go back to the drawing board and say, look, guys, let's just change it up a little bit. Stay alive in your bunkers and play paintball. They're just not doing that very well right now, unfortunately.
No, look, Fedorov. Ooh, Fedorov gets picked off as he tries to make his way up the diamond side of the field. And look at the rest of Houston Heat. They're kind of hunkered down. They're just shooting those lanes. They're up a huge margin right now, 6-0, with a ton of time on the clock. But just Aftershock has not had any sort of answer whatsoever for the game that Houston Heat is bringing out right now.
And there goes Ronnie Dizon, taking out number 21, Jansen.
Man, Dizon has an incredibly quick snapshot. Oh, Dizon just missed that shot right there, but then finally just couldn't get, Aftershock cannot get small enough. And here comes Mishka up the center. Mishka able to get back out on the field as he had a knee injury. And Mishka, one of the greatest players in general ever. But as far as, he was basically the first guy that came out of the Russian Legion squad. Before Fedorov came on the scene, Mishka, he was able to get to be one of those, the rising star from that squad. And, this is kind of, I don't know if this is going to be the last chapter in his career. He's not too old, but that being said, he's still getting it done out there.
Yeah, you know, and Mishka he was one of those standout players on Moscow Red Legion back in the day, just playing phenomenal paintball, going to work. But right there, 7-0 again.
Yeah, 7-0. And, you know, as we're closing out the morning's competition here, Houston Heat completely flawless today, putting 14 points on the board and not 1 point scored against them. Also, I'd like to thank you guys, everyone out there watching who entered our giveaway. We got a first winner of the day today. Black Rotor is going to be going out from Dye Paintball to the winner, Chase Holbrook. Congratulations, Chase. Everyone stay tuned. There's going to be 2 more giveaways today. Make sure, go on Facebook, check out paintballaccess.com, go and check out our Facebook, Paintball Access, and you know, keep tuned in because we're going to be giving away more products from Dye and Empire all weekend long. We got 2 more giveaways today. So Houston Heat, man, they look amazing. So, but do not go anywhere. We going to have a little quick lunch break. Going to check out the X Factor story. They're going to be playing this afternoon, and they've had a very much of a resurgence this year, and they've been ratcheting up their play as well. They've been a mid-level boss for a couple years before, you know, they were winning tournaments 2007, 2008. Some of the guys left. Archie Montemayor, him and Colt Roberts are the best players to ever come out of Texas, and Colt stuck around with the team. Archie left. He went to Dynasty, learned some, that came back. So they're going to be throwing down. X Factor's got CEP this afternoon at 2:45, and then they also have Damage. That's going to be one of the games of the day for sure.